Hello, comics people! It's time for my September review, and it's almost October. Things got away on me this month with my new run at school, my new shift in the evening and getting home at midnight. It's kind of thrown a monkey wrench into my whole lifestyle, and I'm having problems adjusting. But anyways, I was able to find a time to go down and get my comics. I have read through them, and I'm ready to show you what I got. So let's start. Only one Turtles issue this month. It is number 120 of the ongoing TMNT series. And in it, as the last issue left off, the Turtles and all their followers at the dojo and everything were about to do battle with the mighty Mutanimals who had stolen Lita and the little Weasel children from the Turtles and stuff like that. And so this fight comes to a head in the streets. The Turtles and their trainees win, and then they say, we're taking this right to Mutanimals headquarters. So they march on Hobb's headquarters. In the meantime, Hobb, cat hair in my mouth or something. Yeah, there we go. Hobb, who wasn't responsible for stealing the children, confronts two of his higher ups who went above his head and planned the kidnapping and planned the march on the Turtles with all the Mutanimal forces. So he does battle with those two guys, and a mysterious stranger interrupts the battle and pushes it along. And in the end, the Turtles infiltrate Hobb's headquarters, beat down all of his charges. Raph has a brief battle with Hobb and puts him down before the whole crowd gathers round and says it's payback time, Hobb. And that's kind of where the issue leaves off. So I think Hobb's got a bit of a reckoning coming if he can't talk his way out of it. As has been the case for the most part for the last number of months, the biggest haul of the month was the various Transformers issues I picked up, because there's all these different subplots and series going on, and other ones not totally related at all to the main storyline that's going on right now. So there's all sorts to choose from. The first one being issue 7 of the current Beast Wars series that started up a number of months ago. In this one, Dinobot is with the Autobots full-time now, but he's still suffering from his injuries. They're still causing him some grief. So him and Optimus Primal are sparring and doing some training when Dinobot suffers another setback. So they go on, they go to look at him and assess him and try and continue to rehab him, sort of thing. In the meantime, the Predacons are suffering from a lack of supplies and stuff like that. So they send some of their I think Pterosaur and Waspinator, a couple guys out to scour the area for supplies and stuff like that. So they're out doing that. Well, in the meantime, far above them in space, we see this ship hovering there, and something goes wrong with it, or it wakes up or whatever, and then it plummets down to the planet. And who pops from the canopy of this little ship but Black Arachnia. And she happens upon the Axelon, the Autobots ship, and infiltrates it while the Maximals are sitting around playing what looks like a game of poker. and when Cheetor goes out into the hallway to go do something, she attacks him and gets the upper hand on him. And the last thing we see is kind of Cheetor down on the ground calling for backup as there's a bit of a problem, he says. So cool to see Black Arachnia hit the storyline, because she's always a very cool character. Next up, issue 1 of a new Transformer series called Shattered Glass. And this one focuses on Blur. Blur is a fast-talking Autobot that was introduced in the 1986 movie, and in this storyline, the Autobots have won the war against the Decepticons, and there are a number of kind of bounty hunters out there who hunt down rogue Decepticons that are still out there and have survived, and brings them in either dead or alive, whatever the situation is. And Blur is one of these bounty hunters, and his crazy speed obviously makes him an effective one. So he's out there doing his thing when he comes back to Ratchet, who uses the spare parts and all that stuff to patch up Autobots and do all sorts of stuff. And Ratchet tells Blur, well, there's a big bounty out right now. You were out in the field where you couldn't get communications, but you didn't hear it come down, but they're looking for Starscream. So Blur's like, Starscream. He's like, I gotta add that to my the notch on my bedpost, right? So he goes out looking for Starscream, tries to befriend Starscream by fighting off two other bounty hunters that are gunning for Starscream, and kind of gain his trust that way, as well as talk to him and whatever. And it seemingly goes well. But then Starscream and Blur kind of go to this area where they're out of communication again, where Starscream turns on him and goes, "You fool, you think I believed you about all that?" A fight ensues, and eventually Starscream lures Blur into a kind of a lava area where Blur gets covered over with lava and ends up this kind of ashy statue of himself. So I don't know if he's still alive in there or if Blur is dead, but that's kind of how it ends, and we'll have to wait till next month to see what the hell is going on. Next up, issue 2 of King Grimlock. As this one picks up, Grimlock is on the planet Angloria, where he kind of ended up at during the events of the first issue, and the female that kind of leads this little force that he met, Arco, she tries to convince him to help her against the Red Wizard and his wood creatures that he enslaves. And so Grimlock eventually agrees, and they fight, and they free a fishing village that's burning. He fights all these woodbots off, and eventually learns that the Red Wizard has enslaved these wood creatures, and Grimlock's like, oh, they have sentience, but they don't have free will. The Red Wizard is abusing his power, so I'm going to go confront the Red Wizard. And Arco disagrees with his methods, at least. He's only out for vengeance and stuff like that, or whatever. And so she agrees with him confronting the Red Wizard, I guess, but not the reasoning why, which I don't understand, because wouldn't you want to free the woodbots if I don't know. There's some sort of disagreement philosophically between the two, and at the end of the issue she calls him a coward or something like that. So we'll see where the third issue goes. Last up, issue 34 of the regular ongoing Transformers series. In this one, we see two peaceful Autobots, Landmine and Geomodus, out on the edges of the Sea of Rust, where the rustworms, which devour metal, have become really active lately after the Titans fell into the Sea of Rust, or one of them did anyways, a really big one, and they feasted on him and they woke up. So they're kind of monitoring the behavior of these rustworms and what exactly is going on in the Sea of Rust. While out there, they find Termagax, who is in possession of the Enigma of Combination, which allows Transformers to combine, you know, like Devastator, Menasor, that sort of thing, which is a really sought after object at this point. So the Decepticons are really gunning for it. And so they go into Termagax's little mobile command center, and they have a nice little conversation. But all of a sudden, a couple Decepticon seekers streak into the area, find Termagax's base, and alert the Decepticons, sort of thing. And a battle ensues, and eventually Shockwave learns of the location and gets the Insecticons to release all of their drone clone army of Insecticons on Termagax's home base. So there's this big fight as her mobile command unit uses all its defenses to fight these things off, but it looks like they're going to lose because they're just vastly outnumbered by these clones. But they get word back to Optimus Prime that they need backup, so at the very last minute, a number of bots arrive to help out, including Springer, Windblade, and the illustrious Skylynx. And that's where it kind of ends off, as those Autobots arrive and are about to lend their aid to the fight. And so we'll just have to... Hello, what are you doing? I don't know if you should be up on the edge of that. Hey, look. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa. What are you doing? You're not be thinking about jumping up there. Hey? Hey? I don't think that's a good idea. This is what I gotta deal with. Anyways, that's it for Transformers. On to the next one. Okay, last issue, G.I. Joe. Only one, just like the Turtles this month. And Nibbles here has decided to stay for the rest of the video, apparently. Eh? You want to be on camera? You want to have your own channel? Can showcase all your tomfoolery? So, anyways, back to the G.I. Joe, issue 285 of the regular ongoing series. And in this one, there's a small force of Joes ready to march on Al Cabra's location. They finally have ferreted out where this mysterious cobra nuisance has holed up. And somewhere in Asia, I forget where. But there's a small team of Joes, 6 guys, Rock and Roll, Lieutenant Falcon, Recoil, Muskrat, Sherlock, and her buddy Molto. So they're advancing on this location, and it's like, man, there's no defenses. This is way too quiet. So they start to cut the fence to get into the area. And then all of a sudden, a Stinger and one of the ATVs, I forget the name of them, launch out of the building with a bunch of Cobra bats on it. So there's a fight and stuff like that. They take care of them easily. They get on the vehicles. They storm the building, where they find inside of it a bunch of Cobra helicopters ready to take off. And Al Cabra is definitely in the building. But there's another Cobra operative who's all dressed up in this gray suit with a mask, so you can't really tell who he is, and he seems to be in charge. And as Al Cabra is going on and on about, we got to make sure we get this on the helicopters, blah 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 blah, this guy goes poof, bunts him aside, gets on the helicopter. They all take off. So Al Cabra is left in the building on his own and tries to escape, but the Joes eventually chase him down. And he has a fight with Sherlock where she eventually puts him down and finds out that he's one of the Fred series clones or whatever, Crimson Guardsman clones, and they're ready to as they subdue him at the end, they're ready to bring him in for questioning and find out just what the hell kind of role he played in all this, what Cobra might be up to, if they can get anything out of him at all. But the real mystery now is, who is this other guy that seemed to be in charge, and where has he taken off to in these helicopters? What's he got with him? And kind of what's Cobra's next play after this? So, really cool issue. Really fast paced, as a lot of Joe issues are. Lots of action, lots of great art. And yeah, can't wait to see where it goes from there. That's all for this month, but stay tuned for October's review, which I hope to get done before the end of the month like I did here in September. But hey, I'm just one man.